So I'm joining with audio. Hi, Sue. Can you see our screen now?
So why is the sound only coming from your
Yes,
side?
I can see it perfectly.
Okay.
So we need to check
We're
the
about to
sound.
start, but we're just checking the sound for the video because there's a video as well that we're going to be playing. But in the
Okay, great.
Wait, you want the sound from the people on the Zoom to
To
come
be in
out,
the venue.
to be in the venue too?
yeah,
needs to
from the
speak to
laptop to
everyone,
be
right?
no.
It will. I'm sure it will play on the. Just go to the video and play it for a second or two, and let's see.
So Sue's not going to speak at
Why
all.
is it not moving?
That's not moving?
Use your arrow key, I think. Oh, you missed it.
The Center for Postgraduate Studies.
See, sound is coming through here.
Yeah, we can hear it perfectly.
Oh, the venue that isn't getting the sound, so we need to fix the sound.
Oh,
Do you see what's going on?
okay.
The sound is not.
You should know.
It's coming out of here. It's not coming out of. Do you get what I'm saying? Or maybe they should just play it here. Wait, can't you do everything here? Can't you do everything on this PC? On the Windows?
this PC?
Yeah.
Yes.
Logging into Zoom is going to be a problem.
Let's not change now. If we can help it. Don't want everyone to have to. Yeah, if you can help it.
Where are your volumes? Your volumes. Are we back?
You've got to connect the sound cable.
There isn't a, it's supposed to go straight with the HDMI. The sound.
Oh, okay.
If you change the output sound here on Zoom to RGB, wait.
Did it work earlier?
It's just that the system here is a Windows system, so we're trying to link it with.
I see.
So that's the problem.
Yeah.
Where's Mac?
Go up there. The volume up here.
It's a better. Can she try speak?
Can you try speak, Sue?
Yeah, I'm speaking.
Wait, come to speakers. Side there. RGB. Try speaking.
Okay, I'm speaking. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Everyone can hear you.
Oh, wonderful. Cool.
Okay. Okay, we're here. Yay.
How do you make this full screen?
Yes. All right. Good evening, everyone, or good afternoon, one of the two. My name is Asi Pemkali Saumambehlengesiduko. I am originally from here in the Eastern Cape, but my hometown is Emoltino, back in the villages. I am a lecturer at the Center for Postgraduate Studies. I'm not sure if I open my video, it's not gonna tamper with anything, but hey. So I'm a lecturer at the Center for Postgraduate Studies. I work with two other wonderful women at the Center for Postgraduate Studies. One of them, you just heard her voice. I'm Professor Sue McKenna, who is the director of our center. She's also a researcher on higher education around the world. She's currently with us online, so she can't be with us physically, as she's currently not feeling well. So Sue, we send you our warmest regards. Please come back home soon. The other wonderful woman is outside, Supervisor Mangai, who is the administrator of the Center for Postgraduate Studies. So she does the bookings of writing retreats, the administration of criminal thesis, conferences and workshops, such as this one. So we are only 3 at the Center for Postgraduate Studies, yes. So none of us can actually take leave because it's just the 3 of us. But anyway, I just wanted to welcome all postgraduate scholars that are in the house, the postgraduate scholars who are joining us online, the postdoctoral fellows, as well as the distinguished guests, which includes academics that are in the house, as well as deans that are in the house and DVCs. So thank you very much for joining us today. Here is Sipokazi Mangai. Of course, she's taking pictures of us. So I've already told you who I am, but the other part that I want to share with you is that today I am standing in front of you also with 2 heads from the Center for Postgraduate Studies as well as a PhD student. So basically what I'm trying to say is that I'm going to fumble a lot because I'm also like you. So all the other things that you will be learning, I'm also learning as well. I'm also a mother to a 2-year-old, wonderful, very naughty. It takes a lot of my PhD time, but loving daughter who is staying with me. So there's just a lot of hats that I wear. I'm also a gender activist, which ties into the work that I do in my PhD. So you are here today to hear more about today's workshop, those who received the communication this morning, but others are here because they are doing the whole course, which is something that I'm going to be explaining to you towards the end. But first of all, just to explain what is CPGS. Now, for those that are new students at Rhodes University, we often speak about CPGS, but it is the Center for Postgraduate Studies. So we are a group of 3 women, as I've explained, and we are just here to ensure that we offer... Okay. We offer proper support, research support that is needed by postgraduate students, postdoctoral fellows, as well as supervisors and other staff members who find our workshops suitable for their research, either at Rhodes University or outside in other universities. But this video was actually going to do what I just did now. So I'll just let you watch this 1-minute video about what the Center for Postgraduate Studies do.
The Center for Postgraduate Studies is here to support your research and celebrate your success. The Center for Postgraduate Studies coordinates a range of short courses, offers writing degrees, runs seminars, oversees annual postgraduate conference, and much more. The Center works with all postgraduate students and supervisors across the university. What can the Center for Postgraduate Studies do for you? It can support your research, give you access to crucial skills, introduce you to fellow researchers, give you a platform to share your work, and provide you with a warm community of fellow researchers. Research journey is better together.
Just to confirm, the people on the Zoom, can you actually see the slides moving now?
Yes, thanks, CPAP.
Thank you very much. So that is the Center for Postgraduate Studies. You have met me. The woman that just said thank you, Asipe, is Sue McKenna, who also happens to be my supervisor. Hi, Sue. And Sipokazi Mangai. But now we want to find out, who are you? So I don't know what's happening here. Okay. Please go to www.menti.com and use that code to tell us who are you. You can click there if you're an honest student, masters, etc. In 3 minutes. Okay, as we can see here on the voting polls, we have a lot of master's students, as well as honors in the house, PhD students, postdoctoral fellows, we have a few, and supervisors. Maybe we can take these dates to roads. Perhaps that is the number of people that are enrolled in the system. But anyway, thank you very much for this. But the next one that we want to find out is what faculty are you? So you can still use www.menti.com. Oh, wow, humanity is fast. And use that code that is. Okay. Oh, well, as you can see on the polls, the law students have decided to go into their articles and maybe come back next year. But thank you very much for that. So now, back to the course or the workshop for today, becoming a researcher. Now, I want us to think through in terms of who we need to become as we become researchers. It touches on the purpose of why you are doing your postgraduate studies, why you have chosen the topic that you are doing, or the field that you have chosen, and what you need from your supervisors as a form of support. Now, there's a key question that is very important here as we're discussing the support of supervision, as well as the supporting side of being a postgraduate scholar. One thing that you will notice as well is that we often, especially at CPGS, use these words interchangeably, scholar, student, researcher, because you are a researcher as you are doing your postgraduate studies, yes. You are a scholar developing a particular knowledge in your field, but also you are a registered student who needs to be accountable. So in this slide, we are looking at what are the key characteristics of a good supervisor. Now, this one is not only for supervisors, but it is also, for, oh, wow. So you've started already. This is nice. So I was going to explain that you still go to www.menti, use the code, and list the 5 key characteristics of a good supervisor. So these words will be playing along in the screen, and the one that is much highlighted is the one that people are saying, of course, is the most characteristic. Remember, as a postgraduate scholar, particularly if you are doing your honors, in order to participate, think about what you would need from a supervisor in order for those who are doing a research project to finish your research project, or in order for you to pursue your studies further into your master's level. Understanding, okay? They actually don't understand. But yeah. Supportive, patient, that is interesting. Knowledgeable. Knowledgeable, okay. Understanding, supportive, patient. Encouraging. So as I'm looking at the screen, I see 3 highlights, which is patient, supportive, and knowledgeable. But let us look at what literature says about the characteristics of a good supervisor. So literature suggests the following as the 5 key characteristics of a good supervisor. 1, active scholar. What is an active scholar? An active scholar is one that understands how the discipline works and is deeply committed to contributing to it, meaning it is an active researcher, someone who's researching into the field, and also someone who is teaching in the field. The second one being developmental. A developmental supervisor is one that not only supervises the research project, but mentors one's research development and gives a regular feedback. Now, I know we're going to be discussing this in how to manage a supervisor, but there are some politics when it comes to supervision and feedback, where students need feedback as quickly as they want it, whereas when they submit their things, they submit it at the time that is convenient for them. So we're going to be discussing that, but developmental supervision is one that gives regular constructive feedback and sets high expectations with you, for you. The third characteristic being a networked and connected supervisor. A networked and connected supervisor is one that inducts you into the research community and also provide opportunities to connect, and also opportunities for funding, opportunities for seminars, opportunities for conferences, which also contributes to the second characteristic, which is developing your research development. And one that we saw, maybe perhaps using patient and supportive on the previous vote, but a supervisor that is kind, caring, and compassionate, which is a supervisor that cares about your well-being and believes in your ability. And the last characteristic, which is accessibility, which is a supervisor that is available physically and emotionally. Now, we all know that there is no supervisor that can actually have those 5 characteristics. Well, I think mine does, but just to open up a conversation on the floor, what do you think about the characteristic? Just to spark a conversation, there is a conversation around feminists on unpaid labor, which many female supervisors find themselves doing, unpaid emotional labor. So let us have a conversation in terms of the characteristics. What are you thinking about these characteristics? Supervisors in the house and postgraduate scholars, especially that part of accessibility and kindness, you know? Doctor. Sorry to put you on the spot, guys. We have a professor who's also a doctor and another doctor.
It's challenging. I mean, I think so from the supervisor's perspective, the balance between being kind and being firm, because sometimes you can be. So from the supervisor's perspective, kindness and accessibility are sometimes challenging. Kindness, sometimes you have to be quite firm to be kind. You have to hold which may not feel like kindness to your student. And accessibility, I always try to be accessible, but that is not always possible. So to be as accessible as possible, knowing that that's not always, one's not always available. But I think for a supervisor to communicate clearly when you know that you're not going to be accessible is part of my responsibility.
Yeah.
And I expect my students to be clear when they're not accessible to me, too.
Now, I think there was also a highlight of communication, and I think it's very important. And I know that there are so many other dynamics that lead to zero communication from a postgraduate scholar perspective. which is more from an emotional level that many postgraduate students are actually facing and have experienced. There's this thing that we never talk about, which is postgraduate studies trauma, which actually, yes, especially for master's students, they'll tell you, it is a combination of so many things, the feelings of inadequacy, the feedback that was given, the results, the supervision process. But from the postgraduate scholars, particularly the master, they do not scare the honest please, but just hold on. So particularly from the master's students and PhD students in the house, from your experience, what do you think the characteristics of a good supervisor should be added to these ones, and also in support of these ones? Anyone would like to share? So is it okay to assume that your supervisors are accessible, they are kind, they develop you? I think Rose University is doing a lot. Okay. Now, I already know you guys know how to do this thing, but moving on to you guys, the postgraduate scholars and researchers, what do you think are the 5 key characteristics of a good postgraduate researcher or postgraduate scholar or postgraduate student like yourself? Now, this is a time for self-reflection. You're right, what you do good. The 5 characteristics that have made you and created you to reach the level that you are in right now. So that is your chance. I think it was quick when it was supervisors and now. I see dedicated is highlighted there. That is good. Passionate, hardworking. And I see accountability is just fading away. I think when you are hardworking, you're also accountable, maybe. Dedication, time management, wow. Okay, as these are coming up, just before moving on to what literature suggests are the 5 key characteristics of a good postgraduate researcher, because the majority here are postgraduate researchers and scholars. What would you say are the 5 key from the ones showing on the screen? Whether it is highlighted or not, whether it is bold, but what would you say is, okay, 1 key characteristic per person? Anyone? I know maybe some don't want to speak because their supervisors are here and they will hold them accountable. So I'll start because my supervisor is in the room. Okay, 1 key characteristic that I think a good postgraduate student should have is time management. Why am I saying time management? So as I mentioned earlier, as a person, you wear so many hats, which you need to show up for in full capacity. If you are a person that is wearing so many hats, you need to be good at time management. You need to know when is the right time to write. You need to know when is the right time to dance. You need to know when is the right time to date. You also need to know when is the right time to do your work. So for me, my time management, and one key thing about me, I'm always on time. I don't meet deadlines much, but I strive to do that. And that has saved me so much in terms of the many hats that I am wearing. So I've started, and as you can see, she's not making any comments. So you can also speak. Professor Ambon is not listening. I promise. Okay, let us move to literature.
Sorry, before you move ahead, Asipe, can you just point out to those in the room that those of us on the chat have noticed that someone decided that one of the key characteristics is tequila, and I'd love to know how that is.
No wonder they don't want to speak, and I think it's from this room. It is not someone from online, it's from this room, and I agree to disagree. I agree. Let us move forward. Okay, so literature suggests the following are 5 characteristics of a good postgraduate scholar. One, that is critical and curious. There's this thing that we often do as honest students. I remember navigating different topics and tweaking them into different languages and jargon based on your academic field, right? And you do that because you are curious about something that has not been researched up until your supervisor tells you, oh no, from honors level, you actually don't need to change the world. So a good postgraduate scholar must be one that is critical and curious, which means one that has strong innate desire to make sense of the phenomena, one that asks questions, one that shares readings with the supervisor. Remember, there's something that we often mistake, that because a particular supervisor is a great scholar in the field that you are partaking in, they will know each and every literature that has been written about it. It is also up to the postgraduate scholar to bring in some literature to the supervisor in order to understand the topic. And that goes also to the understanding of the purpose of feedback, which is something you're going to be discussing, where that is where you need to be critical and curious about your supervisor's feedback. You need to soak the feedback in, you need to debate the feedback because it is not corrections. And you need to ask so that you understand where did the supervisor come from with this information. Because this project is yours, the supervisor is here to support you. The second characteristic is disciplined. I saw a lot of things there that were leading to discipline. And often as people, I think it's human nature, we preach discipline. I mean, in healthy lifestyle, we preach discipline and consistency. But being a good postgraduate scholar is being disciplined. That means setting clear milestones and adhere to clear plans, and also having clear boundaries when it comes to your task. One key important thing about postgraduate studies is time. Each and every one of you are here on a specific time. Honors, 1 year. Masters, 2 years. PhDs, 10 years. But some of that discipline is actually forced on us. It's actually forced on us by funding and also the regulations that are in the notional hours that you need to spend in your PhD studies. The third characteristic is supported. This is the most critical thing, particularly for one's mental health. So a good postgraduate scholar has got a supportive network academically and non-academically. The Center for Postgraduate Studies offers most of the academic support. The supervision offers most of the academic support. Rhodes University through its funding opportunities, engagements, and discussions, offers most of that support. However, you also need a non-academic support and also your academic safe space. What do I mean by academic safe space? So there's something that I'm going to be discussing with you later, which is writing groups. In the writing groups, we group postgraduate students per their research fields. That is your academic pal who will be able to assist you in terms of sharing and understanding each other's work. So that is very important, but also the non-academic stuff is very important too. Your life is not only your PhD. Remember, you are a human being before you are a researcher. I think there is someone there in the Zoom session who has their mic on.
I'll check now.
Thank you. The fourth characteristic being motivated. The first reason that I decided to pursue my studies up until PhD was motivation. There was something that was motivating me. And for the courtesy of sharing, I am here to take each and everything that my parents were denied. And that includes education. So that is my first motivation. So each and every time when I find hardships during this journey, I remember that one thing. This is for my parents back in the village. This is for my villagers. This is for my community. Take on that motivation that has led you to start your postgraduate journey. Because this journey is not easy, unfortunately. You will develop these things called writing block. Life will happen. COVID variants will come up. So that means you need to remember the motivation and stay motivated. So a motivated postgraduate scholar has a strong sense of wanting to enhance personal capacity and seek self-development opportunities. The other motivation is looking at, especially those who want an academic career, looking at that academic position that is currently filled by the Vice Chancellor of the university, and tell yourself, I'm going to be a VC one day. Unfortunately, you need to build that academic career, and that includes this postgraduate journey. If you like working with young people, that is a lecturer for you. You need to get your PhD, you need to get your master's, you need to be good at your field. That means reading and writing, staying motivated. The fifth characteristic, which is process focused. Now, the other thing that affects motivation is the process. I often make an example of a train station. Everyone that is in the train station, they are there for different processes. That means different places that they are going into. Different trains will come by, but yours might come later. The other person's might come earlier. It's all about your time. When your time is right, the person that you believe in will make it happen. So that means you need to ensure that you expect the challenges to happen. You embrace the challenges, but you keep focus. Make sure that you focus on the finished product, because in the end, you will get that degree. Perhaps not at the same time as others because of many issues, but the first goal is to aim high so that you don't fall far from that. So this one is very interesting, and I would really like to add our participation on this one. Now that we've heard the characteristics of a good scholar, now that we've outlined the characteristics of a good scholar as well as a good supervisor, we are now going to rate our behaviors. Self-reflection. So you will rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. 1, not at all. 5, very much. So for this one, unfortunately, there is no voting poll, so please take out a paper and a pen in order to rate yourself. It is very important to keep this rating so that you go back throughout your journey to check how far are you in terms of what you mentioned earlier, accountability, being accountable to yourself. I often say you can't be accountable to your accountability partner, to your parents, to your friends, if you're not accountable to yourself. So this will ensure that you are accountable. The first rating of your behavior is assertiveness. 1 being, I am really scared of my supervisor and hide when I see her coming. Now I envy those who don't get to see their supervisors. I work with mine, as well as my co-supervisor. So I don't have to, I work with confidence, even though I haven't submitted. And then the third one is I try to communicate, but sometimes I just vanish into my shell. And then the fifth one being I negotiate all my expectations with my supervisor and inform them of my needs while considering their expectations of me. I think all supervisors in the room really wish they can have a number 5 student. So from a scale of 1 to 5, how assertive are you? Who says 1? I'm sure it's the tequila. Okay. The second one, self-management. Number 1 being, I am a bit disorganized and inclined to double book appointments and lose things. Now I know when one does this self-reflection, you know, it's as if it's a job interview where you mention your weakness, but also a strength within the weakness. That in my disorganized thoughts, this is why I'm a critical thinker. Is that how I talk? So number 1 being, I am a bit disorganized and inclined to double book appointments and lose things. Or number 5, I am super organized and put in place systems for project management. Interesting. Assistance seeking. Now I know those who believe in zodiac signs will tell you that, oh, it's a Scorpio, I can do assistance seeking. But here we are speaking about the postgraduate journey. Sometimes zodiac signs do not work in PG. Assistance seeking. Number 1, I don't like to ask for help because I feel embarrassed. Or I don't need any help. When I get stuck, I always figure things out on my own. And that sounds just like me. Number 5, I look for opportunities to try out ideas and I get input from others. I try to figure things out for myself, but I ask for help when I get stuck. Work ethic. Number 1, I'm a bit on the lazy side. I always mean to work on my study, but then distractions come up. Number 5, I am committed to my study and plan my life around it. There is this thing that we do. Now I'm including myself. I'm done judging you guys. I'm here. That we do. When it's time to write, you'll find anything to clean in the house. Now who resonates? Like we clean literally anything. Like I'll spring clean, pack my kids' clothes, wipe my laptop so that it's clean when I write. But never really gets to do it. However, my work ethic at work is on par. So it's all about, exercising. My supervisors usually say, writing is about exercising the brain. So you keep on writing. If you're not writing, you're not going to be able to start. So you keep on writing. That is how you develop the work ethic. That is how you develop the routine. which you need in your PhD studies. Some people don't work with routine, but I believe routine writing actually exercises the mind to get used to writing. So for my master's, I used to wake up at 4 a.m. to start with a master's project, so that when anything else happens in life during the day, I've done the master's project. And it became my routine, which is, it was hard to lose because I submitted in around December. So now I was awake at 4, and then I'll think which club is open. No. The other one is resilience. I really want to think that postgraduate students are resilient. Studying in our country is not easy. Making it through undergrad, many would think, let me go get a job. While others are like, let me do postgraduate studies because there's no jobs available. But others are like, let me do postgraduate studies because I want to change this thing about this particular policy, or I want to make an impact, or I want to archive these stories of these particular people, which needs to be heard. But there is a resilience that got you here today. And I would like to say, even if you get down when there is a knockback of any kind, and that can stop you from working for days, remember the resilience that you built up from first year. Actually, from you started grade 1, or from when you realized that at school you studied. So for the longest time in secondary, I used to go write tests without studying, and I was told I have a picture, what. So I would go to class, write a test without studying, and then I failed grade 7 in March. And that's when I realized, oh, you actually study at school. And I had to build the resilience of thinking, I am too bright, I can actually see a book in my face when I'm writing, to actually getting into studying. And that has been the resilience that I've built. Your resilience is also built because of your motivation and the purpose of why you are doing your postgraduate studies. That often builds that resilience in terms of, even though there are knockbacks, you are able to crawl, eventually walk, and then run. Okay, uses of feedback. Number 1, I know what I'm doing and I don't need feedback. Or I get devastated by negative feedback and cannot go on for days. Or number 5, sometimes feedback can be hard to hear, but I always engage and consider how it can improve my work. And to be honest, for the longest time, for me, I thought number 1, getting devastated by negative feedback was what postgraduate students are supposed to feel so that they get motivated enough to do more research and study up until PhD level. It's only when in PhD level I realized that feedback is necessary. And if you don't get back your work with a lot of red marks, there are supervisors who write in red. I know that is very frustrating. But then if you don't get comments on your work, for me, it often always feels like I didn't do much because there is not much comment that is in it. Whether good or scary, but that feedback is very important for your research process. In fact, some feedback actually is an aha moment for you to be able to research more. But also it's okay to take a few days to soak it in when it was tough. Sometimes feedback can be tough, Professor, Doctor. And we don't know, maybe at times supervisors read our work whilst not having ice cream, and sometimes they're having ice cream, we don't know. But it's quite okay to soak into feedback, but never ever think that it is a level or a measure of your intellectual capabilities or your capabilities as a researcher. So how good are you in communication and collegiality? Number 1, I'm not really a people's person. I can do this study completely on my own with my laptop in front of my desk for the whole 2 years. Number 5, I want to learn about the field broadly, so I take opportunities to share my work and hear about the work of others. Also, when one of us does well, we all benefit. So supporting each other is part of the process. So on a scale of 1 to 5, please scale yourself. Knowledge. Yikes, I'm clueless on my topic. It's brand new to me. Number 5, I'm already published in the field and I know the current research on my topic. So let us speak about this for a moment. How did you do? Understanding that not everyone will have all those characteristics of assertiveness and all that, because as people, we have both strengths and weaknesses, but in job interviews, we actually turn our weaknesses into strength. So that is something that we all know. But which issues did you score yourself lowest on? Let us be honest. Honesty is key. Remember, these things that are listed here are actually going to be useful tools for you to actually look back as you take time, because there'll be those times where you're like, let me take 2 days of not writing. I hope you don't, but maybe it's necessary. And then you must look at these things and see, how assertive have I been? You know, I remember when I started this journey, this is how I felt about my behavior. But how am I doing now? You know, how is my work ethic now? How do I find feedback now? Anyone who would like to share? Which issues did you score yourself lowest on? Not even, but there's a mic coming to you.
Hello, everybody. Yes. So for me, I feel like the one that I ranked the lowest, even now, when I'm in my postdoc, is assistance seeking. Because sometimes you want to prove yourself, right? And sometimes you you keep trying, and sometimes you don't know when it is okay to seek help, because you're like, you know what, I got this. But in most cases, it's okay to try once, twice. Each time it's okay to seek help. And I'll just say the one that I have gotten much better at is when it comes to feedback. Like I remember with my MSc, oh my goodness, it was the most terrible time, because sometimes your supervisors can get, it's not like that. It's like they're attacking you and your ancestors, because it gets personal, right? And then you're just like thinking like, am I that stupid? Like, am I that dumb, right? But then ultimately, I've just learned that in most cases, they're trying to help you, right? And it's not necessarily trying to attack you as a person, but it's for your own growth. So in most cases, with feedback, what I have decided to do is, if sometimes I feel like I'm not in the right frame of mind, which sometimes you won't be, the best thing is to let it sit for a little while, because like a lot of work and stuff, and once I get to a point where I feel ready to look at that document, then I get to work on it. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. Please look for, do you want to say something? We have 89 participants online, and they are audible to their house. So if you'd like to share online, you can unmute your mic or raise your hand so we'll notice you. But basically, if you didn't hear what she was saying that one key problem that she has been trying to work around is being able to ask for help and also taking in feedback, which is something that she has learned, that supervisors sometimes they act in a way that feels like it's attacking your ancestors. That was deep. So anyone online who would like to say something? Which issues did you score yourself lowest? Okay, so as we are looking at also the people in the house, there's a mic somewhere.
Shavona,
Sorry.
Yes.
I just wanted to find out, I know you did mention writer's block. I just wanted to know, how do you overcome that?
Shavona, the one thing, before CP even answers, the one thing I would really urge you to do, there's so many videos on this in the course, but that Just Right video in particular, watch that a couple of times. It seems so simple, but it's genuinely not, because as you know, writing often pretends to be simple, but it's not.
Yes.
So look out for that video, Just Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. And then also with regards to feedback, so I'm currently doing my master's part-time, and my supervisor touches base with me roughly around every 2 months or so. So I just wanted to know, like, time frames for like interaction with your supervisor and things.
Okay. Okay, I think we catch that, right? To answer the first part of writing block, so one thing that has assisted me, unfortunately I'm not with the mic, you will tell me so if I'm not audible, but one thing, one thing that has assisted me is one, doing a project that is close to my heart. Now I know that there are many funding structures that actually have got topics set out. And sometimes students choose topics because it comes with money. But there is space to do a project that is within your heart. It doesn't need to be a project that can change everybody's lives, but a project of something that you like doing, you enjoy doing. So I spent for about a year working on a project that speaks into the work that I've been doing throughout. And for me, that has kept me going, but that does not mean I do not experience a moment of not being able to write. So when that happens, I sit back and look at the macro causes of why I am not writing. If it is time, I have to eliminate that by looking at what am I actually spending my time on. If it is something that is demotivating me, I have to look at that to see what is happening. But the most important thing is I've been on therapy since masters. And that has helped me a lot, to such a point where I really don't think there's a writer's block. I think there are just issues that we need to work on. So therapy is very key. I have no other questions. Just speak to pay someone, speak to them, tell them your problems. That has helped me a lot. The second part is something we're going to be discussing quickly, which is touching base on the importance of a supervision agreement. A supervision agreement that will touch base in terms of how often one communicates with their supervisor, how often they receive feedback, and how often they send work. And this agreement will have to be between you and your supervisor. So, in fact, it has to be written by both the supervisor and the student and agree within their first meeting, preferably, in terms of how they are going to continue with this supervision relationship. We're going to touch on that, and hopefully it's going to respond to your question. Actually now. So learning agreement, AKA, rest in peace, supervision contract. It is very important for those who are doing the course and also for those who are self-enrolled to look at the supervision policy as well as the higher degrees guide, which are both available on the orientation course on RU Connect. For those who are not yet self-enrolled because they are not registered, I've received some of those cases, they can email me to send them the supervision policy as well as the higher degrees guide. The supervisor or supervisory team is expected to discuss with the candidate or supervisee the roles of supervisor and the candidate as set out in the higher degrees guide. These documents are very important. In fact, they are like a constitution of postgraduate studies so that you know your rights as well. And I often receive questions of how many words should a master's be? How many words should be? Those things are actually covered in those documents. So please take a look at those documents. So this is a record of an agreement for these reasons. 1, a supervision agreement can prevent miscommunication. The miscommunication where if you are in a meeting with your supervisor and you promise each other things and you promise each other's deadlines, and if that is not done, there is basically nothing you can do if it is a record, if it is a meeting that you had in an office. But if it is in the agreement, then you can hold each other accountable. This agreement is very important because it ensures that clear deadlines are set from start of the journey. And I believe it is now the 15th of February. It is still the start of the journey for some. And I mean, time is a construct, so it can be a start even if you are in your 3rd year. So do give your supervisor a ring, an email, or a message, yo, we need to speak to set out an agreement. The third important reason why this supervision contract is very important, it enables transparent conversations about expectations and roles of all parties. Now, here are a few questions that you might like to discuss with your supervisor. Meetings. How often do you meet? What is the longest you should go between meetings? Who is responsible to set up the meetings? Do meetings follow submissions or before submissions? As well as record keeping. The second one being the submission of written work. Does the scholar submit rough ideas, paragraphs, few lines, or you submit the whole chapter 3 and it comes back with all wrongs except for 1 page? So these are the decisions that you need to take with your supervisor, co-supervision. What is the role of each supervisor? How will you ensure that all members of the team are informed of the discussions and the progress? And also, is there someone in your field that is able to supervise at Rhodes University that you can bring in? And that is very important when it comes to co-supervision. Planning and milestones. What is the planned progress of the study? What are the interim deadlines and milestones that need to be met along the way? In fact, creating some sort of calendar for yourself in terms of submissions up until the final stage of finishing your degree. Publications. What would be good conferences to attend? Whose names will come first and last, which is some politics of publications, especially between supervisors and students. Administration and reporting, as you can see there. But some of these things have already been covered with the unwritten agreement that you guys have with your supervisors, perhaps. Some have actually done the supervision agreement. Now, I want you to take a moment quickly just to do this in terms of how easily you could answer these questions about the following issues: meetings, submission, co-supervision, planning, publication, and administration. That will actually tell you the necessary or even uncomfortable conversation you need to have with your supervisor or your student when it comes to expectations, when it comes to milestones, submission of deadlines. Remember when I told you earlier, we often hear stories where I sent my supervisor work 2 months ago, but the supervisor hasn't responded. Only to find out that actually the students sent 2 months ago when the work was expected 3 months ago. So they were quiet for 6 months and sent the whole draft of a master's dissertation. So now they are waiting for the supervisor to provide feedback because they want to graduate. It's their milestone, which is not communicated with the supervisor, that they want to graduate in December. And the truth is, and I know, and I'll do that if I become a professor, what has my name in it has to be good. So many supervisors will actually reject that graduation dream because the document needs a lot of work, which is why sometimes it is often advisable to send bits and pieces of work, especially if your department or your kind of work permits it. Instead of sending a whole draft of chapter 5, send 2 pages to see if you are in the right track. And that means you'll continue sending things, and that can only be done if you have communicated that with your supervisor, the supervision agreement. If you want these questions, I'm going to give them to you so that you create a document and populate it the way you want to populate it. Send it kindly to your supervisor. I'm sure some of you already know the personalities of your supervisor, so you will know how to communicate with the supervisor. Okay, there we have it. So for the purposes of the few time that we have, I wanted for us to draw attention to the CPGS orientation course. I've received so many questions in terms of the course, including classes, including accreditation, the times. So one thing to clear out, this is week 1 of the course. So the course was stated that it started on the 13th of February. That meant that the students are now engaging with the work. The contact sessions will be 6 workshops. So it's a 3-week workshop ending on the 2nd of March with 6 workshops. Today is number 1. Tomorrow is number 2. I'm going to tell you about the workshop tomorrow. And then there'll be 4 tasks which are found in the RU Connect course page with the videos that Sue was speaking about, as well as the forum for discussions. There are those students that are here, which is the importance of the registers that are roaming around here, who are doing this course in an accredited manner, meaning their departments are watching them to do the course. So that means they need to do everything that is in there. The videos, the tasks, as well as the final submission, engaging with the resources and everything. That does not mean those who have self-enrolled in the course shouldn't do those things. Remember, this is a process to introduce you to research. The more you listen to the videos, the more clearer things will be. So what I'm gonna do now, we have reached your limit. What am I gonna do now is, I don't know if it's showing on your side as well. I'm gonna show you how the course looks. Yep. So this is my student view. So when you click here, oh, well, do not see my password.
Don't worry, it doesn't show it.
It is the longest one ever.
So I think you clicked on guest instead of roads.
Oh. So
just go back and back. Click back again. Click back again.
Sorry.
Yeah, now click on roads.
Yes. Okay.
And now change to student view. Oh, you are, maybe you are student view.
I think it is already student view.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. So this is what you find when you click to the introduction of the course. Becoming a researcher, it tells you the sessions that we are going to be having, the times as well as the purpose of these synchronized sessions. Now, I received some queries about attendance. What happens if I attend physically today and then attend online, but I'm also in the accredited and this and this and that? Remember, the people that are online are receiving the same information that is here. However, it is quite advisable for those who can attend physically to attend physically. Hence, we have made these sessions to start from 4 to 5, as well as 1 till 2:30, 4 till 5:30. So please engage with the work. So it's quite easy to navigate. You just scroll down, and then there's this back to main course page. So you can go back to the main course page. You navigate on week 1. As you can see here on the right side, there is workshop 1, which is what we've done, workshop 2, and then here, how much time will my postgraduate take? So you click there to find the information, and then you share your views. To go back again, so this is where you find the venues. As you can see, you will find the venues on workshop 1, sorry. So you click on the workshop to find the venue for that day. Very important to note, especially for the people who are online, for each and every workshop, if you are not on our mailing list, right, but you have enrolled for the course, for each and every workshop, the link is different. So the link will be under each workshop for Zoom. Same applies for the ones who are here today. The venues are different, but they're just 2. So today it's Barrett, tomorrow it's Eden Grove Blue. So every Wednesdays it will be this venue, exactly this. Every Thursdays for the next 2 weeks or 3, it will be Eden Grove. But for the ones that are doing Zoom, check the Zoom link underneath. So each and every day, the day of the workshop, which is Wednesday, I'll send out a reminder, which will include the link for that day, as well as the venue for that day. So that will be fine. So for now, as you can see, here is the page. The very important thing, for those that are doing an accredited course. So this is week 1, week 2, week 3, and then the additional material bar. You'll need to go to your departmental pages, check your departments there: economics, pharmacy, higher education, linguistics, statistics, journalism. Those are the departments that have made this course an accredited course. So I don't know, I received a query, Sue. So there are departments that have accredited it only for honors. And then a master student from the same department, which is linguistic, who wants to do it as an accredited. Can they do it? Sorry to
Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Asipe. So just to reiterate that everyone who self-enrolls on this course has access to every single part of the materials, all the videos, all the forums. Please engage in the forums. We want to chat. We want to really support everyone to start this year on a strong footing. So you have access to absolutely everything. The only difference is that those departments who want to offer it as an accredited course also have an assignment. And those are the departments that you see here. And if they click on these links, if the rest of you try and click on these links, it won't allow you through. But if those people in pharmacy who are registered to do this as an accredited course, click on the pharmacy link, they will see their assignment there that they have to do. So that's the only difference. If your course is not here, or you click on it and you can't seem to get in, please do just let us know. Let us know if you're meant to be accredited and you can't get in. But if your course is not here, it means that your department has decided to say, let's offer this on a completely voluntary basis. You get access to everything, but there's no assignment. So, you know, it would be great if more departments did it as an accredited version, because you do get a short course certificate. So if you think this course is worthwhile and you think that it should be in a short course, accredited short course offered with an assignment through your department so that you can get the certificate, then please give that feedback to your department so that they can consider that for next year. But in the meantime, please don't feel that you're missing out on anything. All the materials are available to everyone. The only difference is that these guys do an assignment and they get a certificate.
Yes, yes. So thank you very much, Sue. So that is basically the course. And then one last thing is the workshop tomorrow. So the workshop tomorrow, taking place at Eden Grove, focuses on the elephant in the room, which is procrastination in the times of Instagram and Netflix. So two good friends, colleagues of mine will be joining me in this discussion to discuss what are some of strategies that we do to watch at least one episode per day instead of the whole season, and sometimes the whole season, and scrolling down on Instagram sometimes, and deactivating some pages in order to focus on research. Very important discussion because it will touch on so many things, including the emotional well-being and the things that actually result to us procrastinating. It is not gonna be as focused as this, but it is gonna be an open conversation. Perhaps it is going to be one of the academic, non-academic communities that we are going to build in terms of assisting each other in this academic journey. On the last day of this course, I will tell you more about the other engagements that the Center for Postgraduate Studies offers, including the writing retreat that we'll be going into very soon, maybe, which is free of charge, but only for 25 people. So please do continue attending these workshops, engage with the activities online, and the most exciting thing, follow our Twitter page. It is not as funny as other Twitter pages, but it is very informative. Facebook page, Instagram page, Center for Postgraduate Studies, and particularly YouTube page. So if you are in the progress stages of your postgraduate research and maybe you want to know how to fill in an ethics or errors application, there are videos for that. So we keep these recordings and upload them on our YouTube page. So you can then just go to our YouTube page, search a video that you would like to watch, which will assist in your research journey. The most key important thing in ending events is that we have in Xhosa bathi hlelo 15, and that is food. We have food outside. I'm sorry, online people, I'll try and zoom some pieces. But we have some snacks outside and drinks. Unfortunately, at Rhodes University, we are detoxing from tequila, but we do have Coke and juice and water, I think. So please enjoy and do join us tomorrow as well. Please bring in the registers, and thank you very much for today. Bye. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. What time is the meeting? 1. Go 1 lunch, okay? Eden Grove.
Thanks, Sister.
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Bye. Well done. Bye bye to everyone online. It was great to be with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sue.
Bye. That was really well done. Thanks, everybody.